All right, everyone, we are back. Woohoo! It is episode 7, but technically episode 6, part 2,
Yes.
because a lot of you guys asked for a part 2, which was pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. We had a lot of DMs begging for more.
Not begging.
Well, asking for more information.
So dramatic.
Sorry. I thought it was really cool.
You like begging? You're into begging?
No, well, it was the wrong word. So
know,
I apologize.
I'm just kidding.
But I was just really excited about the responses.
Yes. I'm just a little fired up. I'm a little fired up in a bad way. I'm fired up in a good way because we're here. Because we love doing this. This is so fun.
Yes.
But I'm pissed because my 49ers lost the Super Bowl tonight. Caleb, I don't want to hear it. Shut the hell up. If you guys know Caleb Heron, he's a huge KC fan. Fine, you can have Taylor Swift. Who cares? But you know what? I take it in stride because that's what therapy does for me. I used to get really, really crazy. So crazy that my best friend Evelyn wouldn't even sit next to me watching a game because I get pretty crazy. And anyway, I'm very upset. But like any other 49er fan, a true 49er fan, always says, well, we're going to get him next year. We've been on a quest for 6, meaning we have 5 Super Bowls under our belts. We keep going for that 6, but it hasn't come since 1994. We've been saying this shit. So I'm a little grumpy right now.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. But anyway, before we get started.
Handshake.
Okay. Let the 49ers go. Okay. There's always next year. All right.
It was a good game. Come on.
It was a bitchin' game. It was so good. And by the way, Drew hosted. So we were at Drew's house.
Yeah.
She has a pool house out in the back. And they made me sit out there and watch the game. Just kidding. I made myself go outside and watch the game by myself. Well, you were there.
I was there.
Your brother was there. The 3 of us were there because, they get it. They've known me forever. And they know how crazy I get. And all the kids in our family was inside the house watching the game. Because I'm not very fun, especially when my team's losing. So anyway, good times. Go 49ers. So moving on. We're
Back to our Parenting 101 Part 2.
Yes.
We want to do a quick recap of last episode. So
pause. Can I say something really quick?
Sure.
So one of the cool things that we really saw come through last week after that episode was, well, first of all, we were asked to do a parenting. Can you please do a parenting episode? So we did one last week and we said, hey, we have so much to talk about, but if you guys want, we'll do a part 2. So many of you guys said, yes, do a part 2. But here's what's interesting. A lot of you guys said you don't have kids and don't plan on having kids.
Right. I forgot about this. Yes.
However, we would love to hear more, which I thought was so interesting.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool because maybe they need the tips for just themselves, or maybe they need it for a niece or a nephew. I don't know. But I thought that was really cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, my ADD is off the hook right now. So anyway, your recap?
Last episode, we had 8 tips, and I'm just going to go over them really quickly here. I believe number 1 was you are the parent and you are not their friend. Right. Number 2, communicate effectively. Right. Number 3, teach them to be truthful. Number 4, be respectful to everyone. Number 5, raise your kids to be independent because it builds confidence. Number 6, raise your kids to be best friends with each other. Number 7, celebrate everything. And number 8, teach your kids to be grateful. So quite a few tips that we dropped last episode.
Believe we did that all in an hour? That's
a
lot.
I know. And it was actually really fun.
Yeah.
And it was really fun planning this one as well.
Yes. We had a lot of good ideas.
Yeah. So I was really excited about going into part 2.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You're going over it and you're like, what do I know? Right.
We say that all the time. What the hell do we know?
I know.
Why do they want to know how we raise kids, man? We didn't know anything. It was literally, here's how the episode should have went. Trial and error. The end. That's it.
Oh, that didn't work? Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's try something else.
It's like the Bugs Bunny For those of you who know who Bugs Bunny is, at the end of every cartoon, it was like, da, 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 and then it just said the end. That was our parenting. That's it. Trial and error. The end. That was like short and dirty. But yeah, lots of stuff. It was really fun planning this one too because the ideas were flowing even more because we were reminiscing. So
yeah. Plus, we were super grateful from all the great responses from the last one. So
I know.
Tip number 1. Keep the promises you make to your kids.
That's a good one.
Yeah. You never make a promise you can't keep.
Yeah.
And I believe you created a rule for that.
Yeah.
So explain to them what that rule is.
Well, my rule was I will never promise you, like literally say the words promise unless I can keep that promise.
Right.
So if there was even 1% chance of me not being able to keep that promise, like, hey, I'm going to come to your soccer game, but I know I'm flying in from San Francisco.
Sure.
And I know if anybody lives in San Francisco or has taken a flight out of San Francisco, those flights are always delayed because of the fog.
Yeah.
Right. So that in particular.
Sure. We discussed this a lot together about whether you can make it or not.
Yeah.
Right. And we knew ahead of time if you're going to promise them, we knew that you could do it. Right. And if you couldn't do it, you wouldn't make the promise.
Yeah. So my example was if I said, they asked me, hey, are you going to come to my soccer game? And I would say, in my head, I'm thinking, no, because I'm flying in from San Francisco. The flights are always delayed. It's cutting it too close with the timing. I would say, I can't promise you that. I can't promise you that. But what I will promise you is I will do my damnedest to be there. And I will try my hardest. Yeah. But if I knew I could be there, we did the pinky promise like this, and we would go, okay, I promise you. And then they look at me and they go, okay, mommy promised me with the pinky promise. It's for sure happening.
Yeah, because the girls would be like, pinky promise. I remember hearing it like a lot, and us discussing it all. Right?
Sometimes I would go, nope, because they would go like this. And I go, nope, I can't because I know I won't be able to make it on time or at all. And
there were times where you didn't make the promise and you made it.
Yeah. And that's like under promise over, or was it? Yeah, under promise, over deliver.
Over deliver. Yeah. And they were excited.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah, so, but we maintained that rule since they were way young, right? Like working with them constantly with it.
Yeah, but does that mean I made it? I made a promise and I didn't make it. Yeah,
well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
We made mistakes. Yeah,
all the time. Well, not all that. With the pinky promise, I was very selective.
Sure.
It was like the handshake for Paul Hollywood on the Great British Bake Off. If he gave me that, it was like, oh, okay, right? So I gave those handshakes, those pinky I gave those out very carefully.
Sure.
Right? But there were occasions.
It was not, we weren't perfect.
Yeah. There were occasions where I wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Which perfectly segues into our next topic. So basically, before we leave this point, tip number 1. Make sure you keep the promises.
Right? And then tip number 2 is exactly what we're segueing into, which is admit to your kids when you fuck up.
Ooh,
right?
It's okay
to say sorry to your kids because why? It's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. It's hard enough to say sorry to an adult. Would you agree?
Especially if you have pride. You don't want to be embarrassed.
And saying that to a 5-6-year-old, saying you're sorry, oof, that's a learned behavior, let me tell you. However, it's necessary.
Right.
And one of the questions you guys always ask is, how are you guys so close to your kids?
Right.
Like, our kids are 30, 28, and 19. And we all love being with each other. We vacation together. We go to each other's homes. We... Jason will be like, are you coming over for dinner tonight? Tate and I will already be like on the couch watching TV with our food on our lap. And we're like, yep, we're on our way. Because we love being with each other. And that's because we've built trust for years with the kids. They built trust. Beginning. Yeah. They built trust with us.
Right.
And we built trust with them. Yeah. And that happens to go with always keep your promises to your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you fuck up,
right, you admit it.
Say you're sorry.
Yeah. Now we have numerous tips, just like we had in the last episode, and every time we go over them, they're not in a typical order, one way or the other. But these 2 in particularly were like the last 2 that came up in our discussion, and we wanted to put them at the beginning, And I think because they're pretty important.
They're really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it builds trust, it builds confidence in those kids, and it also builds that camaraderie. So if you guys recall last week, I said we move as a unit.
Right.
We got each other's backs.
Right.
We don't care what the hell's going on.
Rowing in the same direction.
Always.
Yeah.
And it started with keeping promises, and saying sorry when you mess up.
Sorry when you it's that whole communication thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
Because think about this, you guys. Think about let's just say 8-year-old, right? And you say, hey, I messed up. I didn't make it to your thing, or, whatever the case may be. You fucked up.
Sure.
And your kid knows it. But you say sorry to them, worth its weight in gold, you guys. They will trust you so much because what they want, kids need boundaries. We talked about that last week. But they also love when they can see you being vulnerable.
Honest.
And honest.
Looking at them, telling them the truth.
Because you're asking them to be honest with you. Tell me the truth.
Yeah.
What did you do? Blah, blah, blah. And if you want that, you have to reciprocate.
You got to do the same to them.
So when I was growing up, you think my dad ever said sorry?
No way. Why do I do this? Because I tell you to do it. That's why you're doing it.
Well, we talked about that last week, but have your parents ever said sorry to you for making a mistake?
Even though I knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
I was getting my ass kicked. I knew it was wrong, but they never said anything.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember my dad when I was younger saying, he's doing it because he loves me.
Ooh.
So
I'm giving you this whooping because I love you. Listen, again, different times.
Different times. No, nothing against it. That's just what he knew when he knew.
And that was their generation or whatever. We didn't want that for our kids. So we never said, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. You know what? Remember that from last week? Dude, come on. So with our kids, it's like, hey, I messed up.
Sure.
I told you one thing, but it wasn't. You told me it was that thing. I didn't believe you. And here we are. And they would be like,
huge.
Yeah. But they were so empathetic.
Yeah.
It's okay, mommy. We all make mistakes. Yeah. And then you're like, oh. Dagger to the heart. Right? Now that hurt me more than it hurt you. Because, geez Louise, dude. Kids are so empathetic.
And as hard it is to do, I remember the first time doing it and being like, man.
What was the first time?
Like with Dason. I think she got into trouble. It wasn't really her fault or something like that.
Yeah. Because the thing about Dason is, like, if you're having a talk with her, she'll just be like, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. And then come to find out, that wasn't the case at all. Yeah. And I'm like, why didn't you say anything? Yeah. I don't know. I got nervous. Yeah.
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 And it wasn't her fault. And then having to say sorry. Yeah. And your blood pressure's, you're all fired up. And then,
you know what he does?
And then you got to turn it off all of a sudden.
When he gets mad, he repeats himself a bajillion times.
Yeah, I can't help it.
He's like, when the kids were literally be yelling at him, like, look at me when I'm talking to you, blah, blah, blah. And then, this is why you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And this is why you shouldn't do that. And the kids are like, he already said that. And then he says it like 5 more times. And then I hear him down the hall and I go, oh, man, I'm getting bored. So I come over and I'm like, hey, lock it up. Time out. And he's all, ooh.
Just want to make sure they hear me, man. Just want to make sure you can hear it.
Listen.
And remember it.
I don't know if that's a dad thing. Is that a dad thing?
I don't know.
My dad used to do the same thing.
My dad did the same thing.
And then it's like, ugh. You're like going down your chest. Right?
Oh, I couldn't do that.
In my head, I was doing that. I couldn't do that either. Shit. I wouldn't have a head if I was done if I did that. But in my head, I'm like slinking out of my chair going, you fucking said that 10 times already. Enough! Right? So, anyway. When you fuck up, just say sorry, man. Your kids will be like, what?
Yeah, it's huge.
And that builds trust. And they're like, oh, because they're honest with me, so I have to be honest with them. And then it's reciprocal. So good, you guys. I'm telling you, this is gold.
So those are number 1 and number 2 tips. Now, let's roll into number 3 here, which was huge for us when the kids were younger. And that was to read to your kids every day and play learning games every day. Like, I don't know where that came from. when the kids were young. I don't know where that came from, but we did a lot of it, and I had so much fun doing it with them.
Well, I can tell you, for me, reading to the kids, especially like since they were babies, even if they couldn't understand what the hell I was saying, I would read those little board books, right? That's where I tell you how much I love you. What is it? I love you to the moon and back, or whatever it's called.
That's where that came from.
Yeah. The Giving Tree, Good Night Moon, The Caterpillar. Like we had all those books, and I would read them as they were babies and getting older, and blah blah blah. And for me, that came from me. Not the saying that I made it up, but I'm just saying the reason why I did it and I wanted to read it to them is because when I was in foster care, I think I mentioned this last time, I was in foster care, we didn't have a lot. We didn't get to do a lot. And so I would immerse myself in books because that's how I could escape. That was my fight or flight. That was my survival mode. I would always go to a book and I loved it. I read so much.
Right.
And so I'm like, I want our kids to do that too. Not for fight or flight, but for enjoyment. And there's so many good things that come out from that.
Yeah, that's great you say that, because I remember as we were talking about it, discussing this topic, we understand that because the kids are the way they are now, that what it's done to them is it's increased their communication skills and gave them the ability to learn fast. Because I remember as they were going into grade school beforehand, and the teachers being, how does this kid already know how to read and communicate properly?
You guys, Dason taught herself
right
the ABCs. So I can't take credit for that, but I can take credit for her love of reading. She's an avid reader. So is Drew. Donovan, not so much. We make him read, but
he enjoys it.
Well, but he was traumatized in the first grade, and I'll tell that story later.
Sure.
But we read all the time. And when they were able to read on their own, we would take turns reading. And they loved when I read because I always did the
You were more at action oriented. I was super boring.
I did all the voices. I did all the voices. Yeah.
They would sit with me, but they absolutely loved when their mom read.
Because he would go, and then
I was a robot. Yeah.
And I was like, Mrs. Piggle Wiggle said, and they were like, do it again. And I would do things, and I would get up and I would act them out, and it would make them laugh so hard.
Right.
So anyway, reading. And by the time they got out of preschool and went to kindergarten, both girls, they're 2 years apart in age, but 1 year apart in school.
Right.
So Dason went to kindergarten, then Drew went to kindergarten, and they had two different kindergarten teachers, and both of them asked, where did they go to preschool?
Yeah.
These kids are so smart.
Yeah.
And they read so well.
Yeah.
I think Drew, when she went into kindergarten, I think she was at a second grade level, reading level, maybe even third grade. And they wanted her to skip a grade and they wanted to put her in the GATE program. And I was like, nope. Nope. She's already too big for her britches. You let her skip her grade, those third graders won't know what hit them, dude. They wanted her to go from like kindergarten to second grade. They wanted her to skip 2 grades. And I was like, oh, hell no. No. You keep this know-it-all right where she's at. She'll be fine. Plus, she was a young kindergartner.
Yeah.
She was the youngest in the class. She started when she was 4. So I was like, oh, hell no. No. We won't be having that.
Yeah.
So reading and playing memory. You guys
Memory
know that?
game.
Little cards. They were like little cardboard. And they were memory.
Squares.
I played it because I have no memory. So I was like, let's play memory. Who wants to help? Because it was a brain game for me.
They loved it.
Yeah.
And we utilized Barnes and Noble as a reward. That was so huge when they were young.
Yes.
That was so huge. I remember their faces like they got the good grade or whatever. And then this Friday, they would talk about it all week. Can't wait. We're going to Barnes and Noble this Friday because I got my good grade.
Yeah.
Because it was the same routine. We went to Barnes and Noble. They ran upstairs. They picked out 5 books, sat down and just started reading them, you know?
Yeah. And there was a... well, it was like, it's payday every Friday. And then that was our, hey, lock it up.
Right.
Or you don't get to go to Barnes and Noble. And it was like, this is a reward. If you get in trouble or if you act a fool, we're not going to Barnes and Noble. And they had a bakery across the way.
Yeah.
And we'd get cookies and we'd go over there and we'd sit down and read books. They'd read all the books and test them all out. And then they got to pick one and we would buy it.
Right.
and they were so fired up. And that also encouraged their love for reading.
Yeah.
So there's another sub tip, you guys. If your
Yeah.
kid hates reading,
Yeah.
maybe try something like that.
Yeah, as a reward.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that is tip number 3.
Yeah.
Reading to them, playing learning games with them.
Mm-hmm.
Tip number 4 we're going to step into is keep your kids busy, but not, what do we say? But not burnout busy.
Yeah, not
right?
burnout busy where these kids are just like hating life because they have no life, you know? But it's such a good tip, you guys, because listen, if your kids are busy,
Right.
they don't have time to fuck around and get in
No.
trouble,
No.
right? They're too busy, and guess what? If they're too busy, they're too tired.
Yeah.
So they go to school for what, 6-7 hours?
Right.
Then they go to sports after school,
Training.
and then training, and then they do homework, and then they eat dinner, shower, go to bed.
Go to bed.
The end.
The end.
And that's how they stay out of trouble for the most part. Right?
Wake up early in the morning and do it all over.
And do it all over again.
Yeah, same
So,
thing.
and that kind of, now that I was saying it all, that kind of sounds like burnout busy. But it really wasn't, because after school they had fun, they had friends, and they had all,
They always had friends. Always went to school parties.
yeah.
Extracurricular activities.
Yeah,
with their friends.
dances and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And ASB, you know, the student government, stuff like that. What was that? What was that tip?
Keeping them busy.
Yeah, keeping them busy.
Yeah.
So
Keeping them, involved in things.
Yeah.
And just a tight schedule.
tight schedule.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, like if they weren't in sports or tournaments or anything like that, we do stuff as a family. So anytime we had time in between, but like last week we talked about celebrating everything.
Right.
So when they did cool shit during the week,
Yeah.
Chili's was our hot spot.
Yeah.
Chili's, Islands, and
Red Robin.
and Red Robin. Those are the top 3 places we would rotate.
Yeah.
Tonight's Chili's, tonight, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so,
So much fun.
yeah,
Celebrating them and having
yeah.
our tight knit group that we were building.
But keeping them busy. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So that was tip number 4. Let's roll into tip number 5, which coincides with that one, and that is being active, an active parent.
Ooh.
Yeah, whatever
Already-
that looks like for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, babe.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Whatever that looks like for you, because guess what? You don't have to keep up with the Joneses.
No.
Sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you're like me. When I was growing up, I didn't have any of that shit. So you got to make do and do what you can.
Yeah.
But you can still make it awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever that looks like you, it does. You don't have to. We're not necessarily talking about money or anything specifically like that.
Oh, that's a
Whatever-
good point too. Yeah.
Whatever works for you to be a part of it. As long as you're active in it and as long as you're being a part of it, I feel like you're doing your best.
Right. So when we say be an active parent, that means know what the hell your kid's doing all day.
Yeah.
Like you could have been like me, and I was working 80, 90 hours a week and traveling on top of that. Right. So me being, I just had a brain blast. Me being involved
Sure.
was different than, almond mom over here.
Sure.
So for me being involved, it was my brain blast when the girls were in sports or Donovan was in football. And you know how parents, you have to sign up for like snack bar duty.
Yeah.
It's your duty. You have to be in the snack bar and you have to take 2 Saturdays and you got to stay in there for like 4 hours or whatever. And I was like, fuck that, dude. I want to watch my kid play and whoop some ass on that field. I don't want to be in the sweaty ass hot dog bar or whatever they call it, snack bar, and sweating in your chips, your chips and dip. What do they call it? Nachos.
Nachos.
Trust me. You already know I don't like to cook. So you are sadly mistaken if you think I want to be in a snack bar on a hot Saturday afternoon. So I went, the first year I did this was with Dason. And I said, Dason and Drew.
This sounds so bad, but hear her out. Let her finish. Yeah, it's sounding really bad. I know it does. The way
You don't
she's
even know what my
explaining it.
brain
But let
blast
her finish. Let her finish. I promise, it's good.
You don't even know what my brain blast is.
I'm just listening, and I'm hearing this for the first time. I'm thinking, I thought you said you were good parents. No. I promise, this is good. This is good. Once you finishes. Let her finish this. It doesn't sound good right now. I know it doesn't sound
Shut
good.
up.
I'm just saying. I'm just to clarify, to keep them on their
doing
ears on the listening boards and the eyes on the YouTube. Like I promise,
He's
this is
doing
going to be good.
a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Listen,
Let's go.
they said I had to be
Right.
either him or I. We had to be in a sweaty ass snack bar for 4 hours. I don't even remember what it was.
Sure. Nothing against snack bars and parents that volunteer. I'm just saying.
Listen,
right? Nothing against that.
This is my preference.
Yeah.
So I said, what?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah. And
I want to say we developed. I want to say we started this because this was since the jump, dude.
Yeah.
This is what I remember.
this is like years
Yeah,
ago before
like,
this became a thing.
Yeah.
Because it became a thing with Donovan.
Yeah.
Like it was already a thing with Donovan.
Sure.
But we're talking years, light years before
Yeah,
Donovan.
because the girls played lots of sports.
Okay, let me get to the point.
Yes.
So they said 2 Saturdays out of the whole season, each parent. So that meant 4 Saturdays for us.
Sure.
And I was like, first of all, I was like, well, not to be an asshole, but that person's a single parent.
Yeah.
Do they have to do 4 shifts? Oh, no, they only have to do 2. And I go, how is that fair?
Yeah.
Right? I was nicer than that. And I was like, oh, okay.
This
Interesting.
is business minded. This is not. Please.
I'm always business minded.
Business like time, like money.
So I'm
This is-
thinking time is money.
Yeah.
How much do I get paid at work
Right.
per hour?
Right.
And at this time, I'm like at the top of my game, dude. I'm like on the board of directors, stuff like that. So I'm thinking, that would be X amount of dollars. So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Interesting though. How about this?
Yeah.
How about, and I'm a master networker, but I'm also a master negotiator. I used to negotiate contracts for a living too.
Yeah.
So I said, how about this? Let me run something past you.
Sure.
What would it take for me to get out of me and Tate, what would it take for us to get out of these shifts if I pay you money? How much? How much would it cost? And the lady was shocked. She was all,
We could really use some donations.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I've never had this question asked before. And I said, oh.
We'll discuss it with the board and see what's up.
So here's the thing. I said, how much do you think it would cost me and Tate to get out of this? And I can just give you money in lieu of us being in the snack bar. But I made this shit up like, I travel a lot. I can't commit. He's a sheriff. He's on call all the time. And then she was like, well, how about $50? And I go, $50 each? And she goes, but no, like for the 2 of you. And I go, and then I felt bad because I was like, oh man, they use this money to raise money for equipment and shit. So I go, how about if I just give you $100, $50 for each of us, and that'll get us out of these 4 shifts? And she was like, oh my God, yes. Okay. I was like, roger that. So I sent her the money, boom, done.
Yeah. I remember at first thinking, this is a bad idea. I remember at first
Why
thinking,
are my ideas bad?
No. I remember thinking, what a waste of money when we can do it physically.
Oh, yes. And I go, are you kidding me?
No. That's what I was thinking
I
at
know.
first.
Yeah.
Right? And then now, because I know you can understand it now, the way she broke it down. Like we want to be I want to be on the freaking sideline watching my kid. I don't want to be in no booth trying to peek over people to watch the game.
And by the way, the snack bar is always in East Jesus Nowhere.
Yeah.
And your kid's playing on the farthest field.
Yeah.
So you're not
can
going to be able to
never
watch.
see them watch. They said, oh, you can watch the game. No, you can't.
Yeah.
That was your shift.
I already miss games.
Yeah.
So you think I want to volunteer to miss a game? You're out of your mind.
It makes sense, right? It makes
So
sense.
was it terrible?
No. No. I thought it was a terrible idea at first. I'll be honest.
No, I'm saying what my brain blast was. You were like,
No.
hey, this might be bad. I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be bad. But I was like, get me out of making chili billies and whatever the hell else they have and selling red vines. No.
Now, the snack bar, what a great idea.
Yeah.
These guys raked in the cash,
Yeah.
man. What a great idea.
So then it turned into, if you want to opt out. And that's why he's saying, I think we made that up.
I swear to God. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me that on, but I feel like
we were
I feel like we were the ones that started it.
Well, and I feel like we were like, I feel like they thought, suckers, they just gave us money.
Yeah.
And then the other parents are like, huh. Oh, did you work snack bar?
Yeah.
Mom?
No.
Nope. And I just walked away and they're all, why? And they were so
I know
intrigued.
they asked.
And then finally I told my one friend and she goes, that's fucking genius.
What a fucking great idea.
Yeah. She goes, I'm going to do that next year. And I go, well, go do it right now. And she goes, I already work my shifts. I'm all sucker.
I'm
Anyway.
just saying it was genius, bro.
Yeah.
Genius.
So
Genius.
be involved in your
involved.
kids' lives,
Yeah,
however
active.
that looks like
Yeah.
for you. If you're the parent that buys out, buy out. If you're the parent that works it, rock on.
Right.
If however you're showing up for your kids,
Sure.
I volunteered a lot. Remember last time I told you I worked 3 jobs, going to school full time. one of those jobs, I was a cheer and dance coach for a college.
Mm.
And so
Oh, the kids love
it's bring your parent to work day or whatever. What is it? Bring your parents in to, show what they do for work.
for a living. Yeah.
And I was like, I have 3 jobs I can choose from. Which one do I want to bring? And I said, obviously, they're like in elementary school.
Yeah.
If I bring the cheer and dance squad where there's like 45 of them,
Yeah.
you best believe my kids are going to be the most popular kids on campus. And so we did routines. We took kids from the crowd. We put them in, in pyramids and stuff like that, and
So
did
much
stunts with them.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah. Well, I was going to share it at home, what I did with the kids to be active with them because I was such a big video game player and I enjoyed it. So I introduced them to video games. And so we would play video games when we had the time together and have like a blast. I remember for hours and hours and hours.
And that's part of you being involved.
Yeah. That was
An
just
involved
me.
parent.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just have to be at school or sports. It could be at home. What are you doing at home? Yeah. So important. And it also, if you look at Drew now, she is so good at video games.
Yeah.
She would whoop many people's asses. Like, she's so good at video games.
And they all love them.
Yeah.
And they play them and they enjoy it. It's a part of their routine
Well, I was going to say, when you were a sheriff, you brought for Donovan when he was in kindergarten. I don't know what it is about little kids in kindergarten, but they love cops and firefighters. So he brought his squad car.
Yeah.
And he came in uniform, had his gun at his hip, and all the kids were like,
just for his class.
Yeah.
So he made him feel super special.
Yeah. They got to sit in the car, and then they were just like
make
fired
the
up.
siren go off. And, they had a lot of fun.
And it
They
helped
had
too
blasts.
that he's 6'6", wearing a uniform with a gun, and all the kids are like, "Oh my god!"
super fired up.
So Donovan was so excited.
Yeah, being a way of being active.
Yeah. So however that looks for you.
Yeah, however that looks for you. You know.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to necessarily be your occupation.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the next tip?
So that was tip number 5, being an active parent. Tip number 6, create traditions. This was huge.
Okay, so you
We
guys,
were going over this.
several of you guys said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you mentioned you guys do your own family traditions because you didn't grow up with any, and can you please one day talk about that?" Guess what? Surprise! We're going to talk about those traditions today.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. So, well, just to give you some context. So my family, I came from a broken home. I was in foster care. Then I grew up with a single parent after we got out of foster care after 3 years. And we didn't rarely, if ever, celebrated birthdays.
Yeah.
Christmas was and then that was it. Like, no other traditions at all. And if there was anything that we were doing as kids, it was like we were just doing it on our own with our friends.
Right.
Like trick-or-treating or stuff like that.
Right.
So, you can only guess. I said, not on my watch.
No, watch. Yeah.
My
We're
kids,
changing this.
I'm going to change everything.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, you guys, because what we're going to talk about here, we still do
We still chew.
to this day.
Yeah.
And we will continue to do it.
As long as we can.
And now our kids are starting to take our traditions into their own lives and their own homes, because they both have their own homes. It's pretty freaking crazy.
It's pretty freaking awesome to see.
Yeah. So let's start off. We're going to go down all of them really quickly, because we could talk about this just traditions for days.
So number 1 was birthdays.
Yeah. We talked about that last week, so we won't go into it. But every year, we still, no matter what day of the week, we celebrate the shit out of the kids. Yeah.
Huge.
And not just the kids. They celebrate us the same way.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Valentine's Day.
So Valentine's Day for me always made me sad, because I always thought about that as love, but not love as in a significant other, but love with parents and like family.
Sure.
So since I didn't have that really growing up, for Valentine's Day, since the kids were little, I was their first, we were their first Valentine. And so every Valentine's Day, we'd get them a little gift and a card and candy or whatever, and talk about, I love you. And, I'm so grateful you're in my life. And to this day, we are still their Valentine. I don't care if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I don't care if you have a significant other that doesn't identify with, the gender norms. We want to be your Valentine.
Right.
In addition to whatever else you got going on.
Yeah.
But we will always be your Valentine.
Yeah. Forever and a day.
Yeah. So
I just thought of something. I know you were in grade school in Santa Ana, similar to me, right?
oh man, I think I know what you're talking about.
Valentine's year, it was kind of similar every year, right? Where kids would get the Valentines and then they would pass them out
Yeah.
in class.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember every year as a young kid, Valentine's coming around being embarrassed. Yeah. Please don't give me one, or please give me one.
Were you Charlie Brown going, go like checking to see if you had a Valentine and you didn't have any?
Yeah. But my first hurdle through all that is asking my parents to buy me some.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was my first hurdle. And I remember it was so hard.
Why?
Because my parents would never spend money on that stuff.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So that was my first hurdle. And then I'm not going to say they never did, because they did. I remember a few times.
Mm-hmm.
But I also remember a few times they said, no, we're not going to spend money on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
I know. So when I didn't have it, how embarrassing, right? Because all the kids are passing it out. Okay,
That's sad.
You know, the teacher says, okay, guys, like, go ahead and pass out your Valentines because everyone's doing it, right? And that's the year my mom said no, right? So I have to like,
What?
yeah, it's how embarrassing.
And what did you
Embarrassing.
do?
I can't pass anything out. I just sit there, and then the teacher goes, why aren't you passing anything out? And I said, well,
She clocks you.
I didn't have any. Sorry. And then it's like, it's okay. And then everyone's like, feel sorry for you. And you feel even more shittier, right? You feel shitty, you can bring it. And then now the teacher's making you feel, I know she wasn't trying to make me feel that way. I think she was trying to help out, but it was like, oh my God, like,
you guys.
Like, please shut the fuck up and leave me alone. I didn't bring my shit, man.
We've been together for 100 billion years, and this
Yeah.
is the first time I've ever heard
This shit just popped in my head when you were talking about it.
Dude,
So I wanted to share.
I thought I had a rough life.
Yeah.
Listen, remember I told you I'm a hustler? Remember I told you I'm a networker? I always figured out a way, because that was.
I'm not going to embarrass me.
I will go to the grave before you fucking embarrass me like that.
I'm going to bring me some candy.
I don't know how I did it now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. It was
I don't know how I did it, but I ponied up the money and I figured it out. And whether it was, well, I know a couple times. You guys don't tell my dad. My dad used to drink a lot, right? He still kind of does. But he would get so drunk sometimes that I would just go in his wallet and steal money.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Kiss to God.
Come on.
Kiss to God.
Come on.
He used to be in a bowling league, and he used to make me. I'm the middle child, okay? I'm the oldest girl. I have an older brother and a younger sister. But for whatever reason, he always made me go to the bowling alley with him.
Well, he was.
Well, now I know why. Well, I figured out why. One was to babysit all the kids that every fucking parent brought, and I'd babysit them in the arcade.
You made money, though. They paid you, right?
No, they would buy me food.
Oh, okay.
They
I thought
never
they
paid me.
I thought they paid
This is why I'm so business oriented, you guys. I got jacked around a lot when I was
from
younger.
the jump. You're going to learn today.
You gonna learn today, you dumb bitch. Watch my kids for 10 hours while we get drunk and play in a bowling league.
Yeah.
And so
What an experience, huh?
we would come home and he would be so drunk. He would like take his keys and wallet and leave it right there. And then he'd go to bed, right? Stumble off to bed. And I used to, I need school pictures. So one for me. I need new shoes. I did. I asked my brother. And my brother's like, where did you get that? And I'm all, I don't know. He's like, I'm going to tell him if you don't tell me. And I was like, I stole it from Dad's wallet. He's like, you better give me some. I'm going to tell on you. And I was like, fuck, no shoes for me. All right, here. But at least I get my school pictures of my Valentines. Oh, man. I forgot I did that. Anyway.
Yeah. Valentine's Day.
I'm not a thief. Listen, I'm not a thief. I'm resourceful.
Resourceful. He's a networker. She's a networker.
I never went to school without Valentines.
Yeah.
I would go to they didn't even have the Dollar Tree back then. They had Newberries. Remember Newberries?
I do, but it wasn't even, it was more than $1.
No, they weren't. In the 80s? No.
It's been so long.
Anyway, I was never embarrassed. That sucks for you.
Yeah, it does. It's horrible.
But when there was that kid,
Yeah.
and we found out, for whatever reason, I always had extras. So I was like, hey, here's some. And you don't, there's not enough for everybody, but just like skip every other person.
That's what happened to me. How embarrassing.
But I wouldn't, I wouldn't do it in person, in public. I would like do it on the slide. But
I'm just saying.
yeah, that sucks.
I know. But we did a good job with our kids
Yes.
when it came to Valentine's Day. it's a core memory for
Yeah.
me.
So not
that's
only
why.
did we make them feel special,
Yeah.
but we made sure they had things to take to their friends that were
Exactly.
special. So
Exactly. Okay.
So-
and then next tradition was Easter. With
yes.
the Easter Bunny, we were on that train constantly every Easter year.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
thi-
to go to take pictures
Yeah,
of the
take
Easter
pictures.
Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
then I think we missed a year because I got busy at work.
With
And
Donovan. I think with Donovan. What's Donovan?
No. We missed a year with the girls
Oh.
when they got to like elementary school. I forget
Okay.
what it was in elementary school. We missed a year, and for me, I'm like, it's either all or nothing. So when we missed that year, I was like, fuck it, Easter Bunny can wait because we won't have to do the Easter Bunny anymore. But we will continue
Christmas.
So we'll get to that in a second. But Easter, yeah. So we used to do an Easter egg hunt every year. To this day, we still do it, even though they're grown ass adults. And Donovan, I think, well, actually, that last year was the first year we didn't do it.
We didn't do it last year.
And Donovan had just turned. No, Donovan was 18, and the girls were off doing their own thing, and they have their own homes. They bought their own homes, and so he's like, "No Easter egg hunt." 18 years old, and I was like, "Nah, bro." Like, and he was like, "Man," he was all pissed, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, "Dang it." So, but anyway, we brought it back. We're gonna bring it back this year, but on Easter, we always had big Easter baskets for them. And they would wake up like it was Christmas morning, and they would run because we would always have them like by the chimney or the fireplace. And they were, till this day, they're like, what am I getting? And now we just deliver Easter baskets. Here you go. Whatever. So anyway, Easter.
Next is Mother's and Father's Day
Yeah. So the kids go all out.
for us.
Yeah. So me and the kids get together. We kick ass on Father's Day. He gets together with the kids. They kick ass on Mother's Day.
Yeah. So it's like it's in them.
Yeah.
And they get together and they remind me, hey, Mother's Day's coming up. What are we gonna like? Not remind me, but we talk about what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. What? Same what? No. I start planning Father's Day a year in advance, so shut the hell up.
Mother's and Father's Day is huge.
One caveat to that, not caveat, but a sidebar. Mother's Day always made me sad.
Right.
Always. And so my way of dealing with that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. My way of dealing with that was, it's all right. I don't have to celebrate Mother's Day. I don't have a mom.
Yeah.
But when I became a mom, that was my way of healing my inner child of not having a mom. So the kids and Tate would spoil me. And that always, it made me sad, but so grateful at the same time because I didn't have that growing up. So
It was huge, though. 4th of July, we built somewhat of a tradition with that.
yeah. And only fireworks.
Only fireworks.
Because we know how we feel about 4th of July. So we have a tradition of buying fireworks and lighting them off at night.
Yeah.
We have a barbecue.
Yeah.
It's just another family picnic day kind of thing. Barbecue, pool, and then at night when the sun sets, we do fireworks. And the kids always have a tradition, and I still make them do it. 'Cause it's funny. But getting the sparklers and having him dance around and have a dance contest. And Donovan goes hard, dude.
Yeah, in the paint.
Go, Donovan, come on. He goes hard with his like sparklers. And we still do that. That's a tradition
day.
we do. Yeah.
And it's fun.
It's
and we
so
laugh.
fun.
We
Dude.
literally laugh our asses off.
And it's like the first time we ever seen Donovan go hard in the paint using his fucking sparklers. But now we have Peely in it, so like we make Peely do it with us. Dude, come on, it's awesome.
It's hilarious, right? And then also another tradition we do is Halloween.
Listen, if you know anything about me,
Out of control.
why does it have to be out of control?
We have a spirit Halloween store in our garage. That's how out of control it is.
Listen, Halloween is the best fucking holiday of the year. I don't care what you say. I don't care. Not Christmas, not Easter, Halloween. Where are my Halloween stands at? We rise. But he's right.
Yeah.
We have so many costumes. And listen, we plan a year in advance. In fact, we just all solidified our Halloween costumes. Well, last year, we had one idea, and then a movie came out. Then the kids had another idea, so we're kind of morphing the two. So it's going to be awesome, dude. And we go all out. We don't chintz. We don't half-ass anything. We go balls to the wall. I remember one year when Drew was in Hawaii, and she called me and she's like, "Mommy, all of us girls, all of her and her girlfriends, we're gonna go as villains, right? Was it
I think it was
DC villains or Marvel villains? I forget what.
Was it the?
When she was Bane,
Oh, one of those.
it was like Batman.
Yeah.
Is Bane from Batman? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a villain from Batman.
He's a villain. So they were doing villains, right? And she said, I found this mask because I guess he wears a mask. And she's like, but it's $100. and I go, what's your point? And she's like, should I buy it? And I go, is that a rhetorical question? Like, yeah, you got to fucking buy it. That's part of the costume. So don't ask me if you don't want to spend money. Because if you want to spend money and you want to have a kick-ass costume, I'm your girl. But if you want to half-ass it and wear the orange T-shirt that says this is my Halloween costume, fuck off. You're not invited to my house or to my party at all. What do I say? Listen, here's how we do it when we do our Halloween party every year. And new people are invited.
Sure.
Right? Friends of friends or a new friend we met or whatever. And I said, yeah. And it's a costume party. And I go, oh, okay. And I remember one time my friend goes, it's a costume party. And this other person goes, no, I know, I heard. And she goes, everybody goes all out for the Halloween party.
Yeah.
If you don't have to dress up.
No.
But if you do, you're going to be really embarrassed, like Tate and his Valentine Day cards that he didn't have. And she was like, well, oh, okay. Right? That's fine. Fast forward to our party. She shows up in an okay costume.
Sure.
She tried, but I was like, oh, cool. In my head, I'm going, oh man, maybe I should offer her out next year. But she felt so embarrassed. And then she pulled me to the side. She's like, I'm really sorry. I wore this. And I'm like, it's totally fine. Because it was. I mean, I'm not an asshole, but my friend warned her. No, it's a costume party. So it's the Target version of Heidi Klum's Halloween party. If you know what I'm talking about, right? So it's not a Walmart version, it's a Target version, but it's not a Nordstrom version. It's pretty like we have fun. But anyway,
it's a good time, and it's a big tradition of ours, and we love celebrating.
We decorate.
And we have a blast
on October 1st.
Yeah, we get the house decorated, we get the front yard decorated. And we go all out, man.
We give out the good candy.
Yeah, we go all out. It's fun.
One year. It was the first year both girls were in college, and I was really sad because it's the very first Halloween that we didn't spend together. Well, Jason was the first, but then both of them being gone, and it was just Donovan at home. Yeah. I was so sad. I was handing out Michelob Ultras and White Claws.
There was a lot of good costumes that year. That came to the house.
But I was handing those out because I wanted to get drunk because I was sad. So I walked around my son around. First of all, our son doesn't like to trick or treat.
No, he poops out like the first block or two.
Yeah, he goes one block and says, my feet hurt. I want to go home. I'm like, you're not my son. I don't know who you are. Right? You're going to walk 2 more blocks and you're going to like it. Enjoy the experience. And I could never get him into it. He likes to stay at home and pass out candy. So anyway, that year I felt so sad after I took him trick or treating. I just sat on the porch and was handing out White Claws and Michelob Ultras to all the parents who would partake. And they were like, oh my God, we're coming back here every year. Candy for the kids. Candy for the adults. Liquid candy for the adults. But anyway, Halloween.
Yeah.
Best
Huge tradition. Tradition. We also have a Thanksgiving one.
Yes, which we...
It's more of a family...
It's like the 4th of July thing.
Yeah, it's more of a family giving.
It's a colonizer holiday. So we don't celebrate that. We call it a family giving.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we stopped eating turkey for a minute.
No, like forever. We don't... Yeah. So... We don't partake in that bullshit anymore, but
we do have a family dinner.
We do have a family dinner, and we talk about what we're thankful for.
Yeah.
That's it.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Right. And then lastly, Christmas.
Christmas, it goes without saying, but we do have a lot of traditions. One that Tate thought about was the Christmas ornaments the kids make at school.
Yeah. So insane.
Man. They're hideous. They're so hideous. And one time, Jason, was it Jason? Yeah, it was Jason, right?
That actually dovetails with tip number 7, where we document and save memories.
Oh yeah, okay. So,
but it is part of Christmas, which is why you mentioned it.
Yes,
which I don't mind telling it.
You're right,
because it's a great one.
Yeah,
right. You know, your kids, they do the projects every year. Every year, it's like they make candy canes, or they make gingerbread men or gingerbread houses. Well, this particular year, Jason was, I think, preschool, was it, or was it kindergarten? Or
no, I want to say it was like 3rd grade.
Yeah,
something.
They made candy canes.
Yeah,
yeah, and hers looked like poo.
Yeah, because it was a candy cane made out of gingerbread.
Yeah,
so it was a brown cane.
Yeah,
But it didn't look like poop.
It looks exactly like poop.
And of course, Drew goes, that looks like poop when we opened it. And I was like, shut up. And then she was so sad. And I go, you know what? Best piece of poop on the planet. And I hung it right there front and center.
And you bet your ass that piece of poop is on that
Still-
tree every year.
It's still on my tree every year.
Every year, the piece of
Every year.
poop. And every year we share that story.
Yeah.
We laugh and we put it up.
And we put it up.
And it's a thing that we've kept on going since the kids were born.
Yeah. So awesome.
Yeah.
But how many more tips do we have?
7 and 8. 2 more.
2 more. Okay, we'll blow through these. You guys.
Tip number 7 is document and saving memories.
Ugh, pictures.
Yeah.
So like photos, videos, artwork,
I want to say
Christmas ornaments.
I want to say Noelle was the selfie person before selfies were even a thing.
Listen,
Everywhere we went, even before the kids, everywhere we went, she had a camera. And she always wanted to take pictures. And it was annoying, like crazy annoying. Like I was like, would be embarrassed every time. And I would be like, I don't want to take a picture. Every time we'd go out, I was
how
like,
dare you call me annoying?
every time we went out, I was like, please, in my head, please don't take a picture. Please don't take a picture. Okay, guys, here's where we take a picture. And I'm like, oh my God.
Listen, I'm so skilled, and I am the master of selfies before selfies was even a thing.
Yeah.
Because I could take selfies with a Polaroid camera, and we're talking the old school Polaroid camera that looked like a big box, and the pictures are still this big, not those little ones they have now.
Yeah.
And I could turn it around and go, cheese,
Yeah.
and it was awesome.
It was awesome.
But listen, he's annoyed before we had the kids. The kids come, they're annoyed because I want to take pictures.
Yeah.
Here's why. I didn't grow up with pictures.
Yeah.
I literally have 3 pictures, and I'm going to try and find the one of me in foster care.
Sure.
Because you guys, until I saw this picture when my uncle gave it to me years later, like
Right.
early 30s, I want to say that he gave this to me.
Sure.
I didn't know I was a silver tooth kid.
Stupid.
I didn't know that. I am obsessed with brushing my teeth. If I could, I would brush them 3 times a day. But as it is, I brush it twice a day. And I don't do teeth whitener. I don't do anything. But I was obsessed with my teeth, and I don't know why. I didn't know why until my uncle gave me that picture, and it's me going like this. And I have black teeth and a silver tooth. What the fuck? And then I realized that's why I'm obsessed with brushing my teeth. I guess. I don't know. I put 2 and 2 together. But that being said, I want pictures.
Yeah.
Because I have 3 pictures. One, the silver tooth kid one.
Of yourself.
Of
as a
myself with my brother. One with a Easter bunny holding me from far away. Who knows if that's me? I don't know.
There's that picture of you guys on donkeys.
No, that's
Or
when we were
ponies.
older. I'm talking about that's one. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember when the pony man.
Santa
If you're from Southern California, the man with the pony used to come to your house and
Santa
take
Ana
pictures, and you put a
especially
cowboy
bad.
hat on. But I always wanted, to take pictures because I never had any.
I know.
And I wanted my kids to see their memories of growing up.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm annoying to taking pictures. But guess what? Guess who wants all my pictures to post?
All the people that were annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
I can't tell you
myself.
so many times I would get so mad. One time we were in Hawaii at the Hukilau Cafe. I'm going to see if I can find that picture too.
Oh.
And the kids were like annoyed, and one of them was crying, and I'm tired of taking pictures. And I go, get in front of that sign so I can take a picture. And then I'd take a picture, and then guess who wanted it to put on MySpace?
Every single one of them.
All of my pictures in Hawaii. Interesting. And then when we took Dayston, was it her freshman year we were dropping her off?
College?
Yeah, in college. Or was it her senior year? I don't know. It was one of those years.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to take a picture in front of the building with a big O on it. And everybody was giving me shit about it. And I got so mad. I walked away from everybody and walked to a bar and started drinking by myself because I wanted to tell them all to fuck off. And then they came and they were like, I'm sorry.
You know,
then
it started from the beginning of that day.
I know.
Because you wanted to take pictures everywhere we went, and it just progressively got worse where you were like fed up.
And I was like, fuck all you guys. And the horses you rode in on, I'm going to go drink.
Yeah,
and I
you
went to a
went to
bar.
bar.
I went to a college bar and I was drinking.
Taylor's.
Yeah, Taylor's. Ooh, that one got closed down for some shady shit. But yeah, I went, and then they came and then they were crying, we're sorry.
Yeah.
And I was crying because I think it was Dayson's freshman year.
Yeah,
because I was dropping her off and I was fucking sad that my oldest, my firstborn, was going to college.
Yeah.
That you got one job.
Yeah.
And that is to make sure your mom is happy.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well,
It's a picture.
Suffice it to
Indulge me.
say, this now as I am now, the father I am now, and the memories I have now, I'm so grateful these pictures, these videos, these special items were saved because they're huge, huge memories, and we always do it with the kids. We'll always go back and we go, remember this, remember that, and then
Dude, you guys, if you guys are Patreon members
Yes.
of Two Idiot Girls,
Yes.
you're gonna remember this story.
yeah,
Donnie's
stand up.
stand-up routine.
Yeah.
I videotaped me, and you're all gonna get it pretty soon. I hear rumor on the street,
Yeah.
but
And you're gonna love it.
and you're gonna love it. And you wouldn't have Donnie's stand-up routine if I wasn't always videotaping or taking pictures. So all your moms out there, take them.
Yeah.
Who cares if your kids cry? Make them take it. They're gonna thank you later.
We were big on school photos when they were young, growing up. Always making sure they were dressed from top to bottom, just like hair done, boom. Like
Something about Drew. She would go to school primped and pretty, and she would tell me what she wanted to wear.
Yeah.
How she wanted her hair,
Yeah.
and I was a hairstylist, not really, but like a mom stylist. And she would go and look beautiful. And when I get the pictures back,
sweaty.
holy shit, man! I don't know if she ran through a wind tunnel or got her ride to school on a motorcycle. Like her hair was always fucked up.
I
Or,
remember we were asking, is there any way you could take the pictures now?
Yeah.
I mean, we were dropping out like, I don't want
like first thing while she steps on campus, go straight to take her picture because we knew Drew was always gonna come with fucked up hair. I don't know why, but I'm like, oh man, you know what? We'll just say we didn't take him and we'll do makeup day, and I'll take her to school late. Shit, but yeah, we always did those.
Yeah, school photos were huge, and then obviously their achievements in school were huge, where we save them and we talk about them. Remember when they got this?
The artwork and the awards and stuff like that.
Little
Yeah.
things like that, and then the ornament that we just talked about, that was huge.
Yeah.
And it's still huge to this day. We still do it. We still
So
hang
this
it
tip is just when you make memories, document it. You're gonna be so happy you did.
Noelle specifically writes the date on everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Listen, we have every Santa picture.
Yeah. Oh
for
yeah.
30
years.
So the first Santa picture ever was Dason solo because she was born 10 days before Christmas. Then 2 years later, then it was her and Drew, and then it was her and Drew until Dason was 10, and then Donovan came along, and then and now Peely's in every picture.
Yeah.
So first we get the three kids together, and then Peely gets in and we take the picture again.
Yeah.
Some of you guys have seen these pictures for 30 years. And I write the location and I write the date on every picture, every piece of artwork, because I want to know, man, when was this made or whatever. And you're going to be so thankful that you put dates on everything.
Yeah.
So
It's such a, I don't know, a fun thing for us to do.
yeah.
You know, we'll for some reason get into them and be like, oh, remember this and that.
Well, also all these parenting tips, you guys, like you're going to wish someone told you this earlier on. So if you're a brand new parent or you haven't, you haven't had kids yet, remember this. You are going to thank me later. And in fact, I hope you do. And send me a kick-ass picture that you made your kids take and they're crying in the picture. That would be hilarious. And if you don't plan on having kids, document your whole life.
I know.
It's so fun to look back. So now there's a trend on TikTok right now. Not TikTok, Instagram. And they're like, show your picture when you were 21. And I was like, damn, I had a lot of 21 pictures. I could fit those up. But guess what? I was a mom of 2 kids by then. Shit. So, but anyway.
Right.
Document. That's 7.
Yeah, number 7, document to save those memories, right? So let's get into our last tip. Tip number 8, teach them the value of $1.
That's so good.
That was important for us to put this on air.
So here's a hot take, right? And make sure you comment on this too if you have something to say about it. Because some people agree, some people don't.
Yeah.
Our hot take is we did not give our kids allowance because that's how we were raised, right? But for us, it was like allowance.
Right.
You got room and board. You're like a freeloader right now. I don't care if you're 5. You're not paying bills around here.
There's food in the fridge. There's a roof over your head.
Do you have McDonald's money? No? Then shut it. No, just kidding. But the hot take is we didn't give allowance.
No.
However, we wish we would have.
Yeah.
Like,
looking back,
I think that would have been really impactful because we're doing it with Donovan. We didn't do it with Daisy and Drew.
No.
And he's not getting an allowance, but he is working for things for his sisters and making money and stuff like that. And I'm such a sucker, you guys. He'll say, "Oh, I'll do this for you, and you can pay me." And I go, "Okay." And then he never does it. And then I pay for his video game or whatever. And I'm like, "Wait a minute, there's no exchange of goods and services here. What the hell? So, but yeah, that's one of the mistakes we wish we would have done
with the girls
just earlier on. But we had a rule that was hard and fast. Hey, you're not working in until you get to college.
Yeah.
If you want to work, that's cool. Because here's the thing, you guys, your kids, I know it's good. Hey, they need to figure this out and they need to get a job.
Yeah.
The hot take for us is no, you don't get to work when you're in school, because guess what? You have your whole life to have a job
and make money. Yeah. You have plenty of time.
Be a kid.
Yeah.
So we didn't allow our kids to work in high school at all. When they went to college,
expressed some interest.
They did. They always drew. She wanted to make money and buy clothes and stuff like that. And I was like, nope, no jobs. I want you to have fun, play sports, be with your friends, go to prom, do all this other cool stuff.
Right.
You're not gonna be able to do that if you have a job. Guess what? You'll have plenty of time to be disappointed in a job later on. Just not now.
Yeah, because when they went to college and got jobs, they're like, holy shit, I'm so glad I didn't have this.
This sucks, right?
But they were adults.
Yeah.
And they were able to fit it in their schedule. And
Yeah.
they were able to work it out. And they did a good job.
Yeah. And that was a great learning experience for them. So the hot take is we didn't give them allowance. I wish we would have, because then it would, show them. But like when they would get money for birthdays or from family members, and let's just say each of them had $20, and I'd take them to Target. Here's how Dason would spend her money. She would get one thing that cost $20, and then I'd have to pay the tax. Yeah. And then Drew would be like, I don't know. And she'd put all this,
bad boy.
She'd be calculating it, right? And then she'd put all this stuff in the cart, and we'd get up there, and then she would start taking things out of the cart. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. And then she would only buy one thing and still have money left over. And then Dason would be like, please share your money with me. Like 2 days later, the ice cream truck would be coming. No. She's like, please, I know you have money. Drew was like, beat it. Drew was a miser with her money, man. But she was so good with her money. Now they both are. Like, it's just funny. The hot take is we didn't give them allowance, but maybe we should have. But I stand by they're not
reason
working.
why we didn't want them.
No, the reason behind not letting them work in school.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can be haggard from a job afterward, after you get out of school. You don't need to do that during your high school years. Go be a kid. Yeah.
And they did. And they were.
And they had fun.
And they had a blast.
So I think that's it.
That is tip number 8, which leads us into what we like to close off with. And we're going to try to do it as often as possible. And that is the thought of the day.
I love it. Tate came up with this one. This is really good.
So what I came up with after going over last episode's tips was to be honest with yourself. Right? Life is hard. You're going to fuck up. Did you fuck up? Say sorry. It'll go a long way. Then give yourself grace, right? Because tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. And one of the things I always would tell the kids was, hey, today was a terrible day, right? Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just a terrible event that kind of ruined the rest of your day.
Sure.
Guess what? Tomorrow starts with zero mistakes.
I remember having conversations with the girls when they played soccer about that, if they would lose a big game.
Dason never cared. Dason was like, oh, thank God. Where are we going to eat for lunch? Like, she was like, so like.
She did her best.
No, she was listen, Dason was an amazing athlete.
I know.
She was always the fastest one on the team. She was so good. She could read the field, but her anxiety would just like cripple her. She would she was a forward in soccer and she would break away. Nobody around her, just her and the goalie. She's running. Everybody's like, yes, she's going. And then all of a sudden, whoop, she would fall. And then like, sniper. And then I'd be like, what happened? She goes, I got nervous. And I fell down and I was like, oh my God. But she was a phenomenal athlete. Like not just soccer, rugby,
anything,
club volleyball.
I think she could have played any sport.
Sport.
Yeah, she wanted to play. I remember her going to Oregon and saying she wanted to play rugby, and in my head going, "What do you know about rugby, kid?"
Well, we know why now. Rugby.
Yeah.
But she's the most. She was very passive and and I'm like, that's like a kick-ass brutal sport, and she dominated. We surprised her. We drove out to Stanford. We took like 20 of us. We had t-shirts made and we watched. I remember the first play I saw her go in. She's only 5'4". She literally picked up a girl that was probably 6 feet tall, picked her up and turned her upside down on her head. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's my fucking kid. I was like crying, going, it was amazing. But when I say she didn't care, she didn't care if they won or lose. She just wanted to play good.
Yeah.
Drew, on the other hand, is like me.
Yeah.
We'll stew in that shit for 10 days. 10 working days, by the way. It was, she was, so going back to your point.
Right.
And my point. Tomorrow's a new day that starts with 0 mistakes.
Yeah.
How cool is that? So remember that.
Yeah.
Right? Be honest with yourself.
Honest. Yeah.
Meaning, if you know you didn't do your best, what could you have done better?
Exactly.
Did you procrastinate?
Yeah.
There's something. Be honest with yourself. Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Move on.
Move on.
Yeah.
Move on, because it goes a long way. If you're constantly honest with it, you'll do the best you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you'll do better.
Yeah.
Not the best you can. You'll do better than you did in that version that was making mistakes because you just learned from that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, again, you're not failing.
No.
You're learning.
You're learning.
So give yourself grace. So
Yeah.
I love that. This is our episode 7, you guys.
Yes.
Technically, episode 6, part 2. But this is longer. Several of you guys said, please, longer than an hour. And I'm
Right.
like, girl, slow your roll. But look at us.
I know.
We got through everything. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you again.
Remember to like, follow, and comment because it really gives us ideas on what to do next and how to get better because we're still fucking newbies at this. So, but we love the input. Thank you
Right.
guys so much for...
Keep those comments coming.
I know. And
We love every single one of them.
keep the ideas coming too.
Yeah.
Like if you guys want to hear something else, it doesn't have to be just parenting because
No.
we kind of got a lot of experience in a lot of things. So
Yeah.
that's us. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.